Welcome, everybody. We are here for NXT, steady and ready to air in the next minute or two. I am your host, Steven Sandridge of Marked by Wrestling. Welcome always to Marked by Wrestling. If it's your first time, we'd like to give you an introduction and a welcome into the chat. Welcome to Marked by Wrestling. Being a mark just means you believe, and believing makes wrestling better. So we respect each other, we share our thoughts, and have a great time. So we're waiting just as NXT is about to start up. I'm here just a smidge of a minute early. Hope everybody's doing okay tonight as we get the show started. It's going to be the fallout from Roadblock, which was a tremendous show. If you joined us, we've got NXT Underground tonight. We've got Ricky Saints in action. We've got a 6-person tag. We've got a matchup between the family and the culling as the broadcast is beginning. So we're about to head into the opening here. As always, as we are growing and growing here at Marked by Wrestling, coming up soon to our super chat eligibility. If you want to support the channel in the meantime, you can always reach us at the below areas. And I hope you guys are ready for a good night of wrestling, because here it comes. Teflon Don, welcome, sir, to the chat. It is good to have you here. Greetings to you as well. And let's get ready to have some good times with NXT. As we're seeing a little bit of a video recap from Roadblock and NXT taking over New York. Man, I'm still blown away by how well put together Roadblock was. Every match was great, but they pushed and advanced angles that we're going to see this week. There was a match kind of for everybody. Looking back at this street fight, man, Javon Evans and Ethan Page really threatened to steal the show with there being so much. But this group that still, I think, doesn't have a name, still has a thing for Javon Evans. They attacked him after the match, after he and Ethan Page had that brutal matchup. So we'll see what comes of tonight. Undertaker also giving a little bit of a rub to Obafemi. I saw that the Dudleys, or at least Bubba, gave a little bit of an attaboy to Fraxium behind the scenes as well, as the LFG judges were in the house. But, man, Obafemi and Moose, I hope they run that back, even if it's on TNA television. That they do that again, because those dudes just, Godzilla and Kong, wrecked the scene. And I hope they get another shot. And then Stephanie and Julia. So, there have been rumors going around that Julia was not 100%, and that might have led to part of this matchup being kind of what people thought was a little premature. But with the time they had, they did excellent. I can't wait to see them do it again, because those two have great chemistry in the ring, some great reversals, just great action between those two ladies. What we got done, I went back and rewatched that Cena promo, and man, the crowd was electric. Yeah, I need to go back and watch it too, because at first it took me a minute to really get into Cena. But as he started going, the more he started going, I really bought his promo. And it's honestly an excellent rationale for a heel turn, as we see Stephanie Vaquera with double belts walking through the perilous NXT parking lot earlier today, heading into the building. And Trick Williams also on the scene, getting ready. He's got an NXT Underground match tonight. So Cena did great. And not only that, but like at the end of it all, his promo was very much what I'll call a you people promo, heel promo that has been done a million times. But when Cena did it, he was so believable. Actually, I really enjoyed his willingness and his bravery, the man, not the performer, to go around, to come all the way around and be like treat himself as a victim. He could very well have gone the Rock's way and try to be the dominant, cool heel, but he was a bit of a chicken, you know what? Our United States champion is first out tonight, Chelsea Green is defending tonight against Sol Ruca, so we're opening up the show with that. Cannot wait for this match. I've become really, in a fandom sort of way, smitten with Chelsea Green's whole Secret Hervice gimmick with the U.S. title. I think she's doing amazing stuff with this title, and I just wish on the other side of things, Lyra Valkyria would, I don't know if it's her or I don't know if it's creative, but like she just seems kind of there by comparison. You know what I mean? But anyway, I'm excited to see this match tonight. Let me know who you guys got as we are starting off strong with Chelsea Green and Sol Ruca for the U.S. title. Wasting no time here. And the crowd's loud for Chelsea. I mean, and they're staying loud as Sol Ruca comes into the NXT arena here. With Zarya pushing her on the skateboard down the aisle. And now she's got her on her shoulders. I really enjoy their little their little coupling. I don't know what you call it. They're teaming together, Sol Ruca and Zarya. Good stuff. So, anyways, Teflon Don, thank you so much for bringing up Cena's promo again. If you guys have the spare time, it's worth checking out again. It was impactful and it's definitely a moment in wrestling. I definitely think some kids there got marked by that promo for sure. Justin Hallen Crane, by the way, good to see you. Thanks for being here. Samantha Poole, hey, it has been a long time. It's good to see you. Thanks for being here. Let's watch some NXT together. Mike Rome has got some kind of cross between Conan O'Brien and Seth Rollins here. Big poof of blonde hair there in the front. I don't mean to hate. It just took me by surprise as soon as I turned and looked and saw. I'll tell you what, I have high hopes for this match. Who do you guys have? Chelsea versus Sol Ruca tonight? I mean, I feel like Chelsea's going to retain, but I'm not going to say that it doesn't matter who wins, but I just feel like this is going to be an entertaining match. So I hope I'm right. Teflon Don, I missed one of your chats earlier. You said, this is just my opinion. Being cooked on the mic by Cena should be an honor. I will say a lot of the people who have gone on to good things. I mean, Rock's been cooked. Roman's been cooked. Austin Theory, we're still waiting on him to do something. But Daniel Bryan, they've, and some people may want to argue that Bryan wasn't necessarily cooked. But, yeah, Cena has let it all out against certain people. And I'm sure that moment is probably coming for Cody too, because it seems pretty clear that the professional respect is there for Cody from both Cena and Rock, given their, willingness to work with him and, putting Cody over last year. And then we'll see what happens at WrestleMania this year. But yeah, it's an exciting time to be a wrestling fan. How's everybody doing today? How's your Tuesday? What did you guys think? Teflon Don gave us his thoughts. Chelsea with a head scissors and saluting the crowd while she does it. What did you guys think of Cena's promo? Curious about that. Let me know. Samantha, yeah. So, yeah, it was at a different start time. And by the way, next Monday, everybody, I'm on the West Coast, and Raw's going to start at 1 p.m. my time. So it's starting an hour later than it did yesterday for next week when they're in Glasgow, I think. So if you're on the East Coast, it'll be 4 p.m. your time on Monday. So just mark your calendars if that's something doable for you. That's the great thing about Netflix. Once the stream is over, you can pretty much just go ahead and, check it out. So. All right. Now, Chelsea taking it to Sol Ruca. Not too. She's had some reversal. But she hasn't really done anything too competitive yet. Sol Ruca. Chelsea's kind of been in control here, but we'll see how things turn around. Reversal by Sol Ruca. She's proven she belongs in here. Crowd's alive, though. Crowd's alive for this match tonight. Oh, Sol Ruca giving the old surfboard treatment to Chelsea Green. Literal surfboard, just standing on her back, not the actual surfboard submission move. Something of a super kick to Chelsea. Didn't quite get all of that, though. I'm curious to see if Sol drops. Oh, that's a nice reversal. She was on the apron, dropped a split, and turned it into a leg sweep. But that numbers game, Secret Hervice being a distraction. But Zarya is out at ringside too, and she's approaching them as it is now as the action continues. But the referee is caught up with both Zarya and the Secret Hervice distracting one another, threatening to come a little closer as we're now in picture-in-picture commercial break. So, hey, Sophie, welcome. 3 times in a week is historic. It is historic. I am a bit of a historian. That's what they tell me. So, what else can I do? But we're here again, NXT. Again, if you're just joining us, our opening match here, Chelsea Green and Sol Ruca for the Women's United States title. I'm so tired of calling it women's. I just want to call it the U.S. title. Is everybody cool with it? I can just call it the U.S. title. Y'all won't think LA Knight's in there. But yeah, it's been a decent back and forth match. It's the opening bout tonight. Crowd's awake for it. Sol Ruca's got Zarya in her corner, and Chelsea's got the Secret Hervice. And I'm gonna take this as a great compliment from Sophie Duffy. We got to see you more than we see the Rock or John Cena. Well, listen, I am here for the people. I'm not in it for the paycheck, for sure. But yeah, happy to be here, and happy that you guys are here too, because you guys being here make these viewings make watching NXT that much more fun. And NXT is a great product right now, so you guys just make it that much more better just for being in here with us. Teflon Don. Excuse me, guys. Give me just a second. A little hic. Okay, and I'm back. I was proud of Io for standing her ground. Even though I would like Bianca to win the championship, I would not be mad if Io retains. Teflon Don, I 100% agree with you. We have a lot of really exciting feuds going into WrestleMania, and some are still building as it is right now. But I think I'm most surprised that I'm so excited about that feud. And Bianca and Io and Rhea are all just really throwing their all into this feud right now. I'm not entirely sure where we're standing on how Rhea gets into the match. I mean, she just grabbed the contract and wrote her name on it, but and listen, from a wrestling standpoint, I'm looking forward to seeing all three of them mixing it up. I hope they get a little bit more of a logic base into that decision, other than she just came in, powerbombed them, stole the contract, and now she's in the match. However, 100% agree. I love that Io is standing her ground. Absolutely. Like you just said, because I can remember back in the day, like when it seemed like there was a third wheel in the feud and stuff, they really didn't get booked like logically, as if like, hey, if you're going to pie face me, I'm coming back and I'm dropping you both. I'm the one with the belt. Y'all are the one who want me. I don't need y'all. And I love that about Io. And I love Bianca's, I wouldn't call it a newfound aggression, but an aggression she's kind of rediscovered. She certainly, I wouldn't say she was silly before. She wasn't, but there was a lightheartedness to what she did, And so I love what she's doing now. Sol Ruca, we are back. Sol Ruca just came off the top with a missile drop kick down to Chelsea Green, and she is splat onto the mat now as the match is back in action. Sophie, you're playing Astrobot. How far along are you? I think I'm in the squid world, if that makes sense. I've beaten that gorilla constellation or whatever. I don't know what you call those worlds in Astrobot, but I'm in the second major cluster now. Every time I find a new planet, I just go to it and try to 100% it before I move on. But Astrobot's a ton of fun. I love playing that. So let's see. Sophie Dovey says, can't wait till SmackDown goes to Netflix in the future. If they showed us what they're doing with Raw, they could do a SmackDown in 5 years. Yeah, I'm very curious how this continues. Sol Ruca's tricked out her knee a little bit though, and now Chelsea's trying to take advantage, but still only getting 2 counts here. Yeah, I'm enjoying the Raw experiment, but I hope they continue to work out the kinks of their timing, But it's been fun. The shows never seem too long. I loved it the other week when it was Raquel and Liv main eventing against Bianca and Naomi, and we didn't actually know when the show was going to be over. I thought that was fantastic. What we saw last night, we saw in the Mania 20 build between Benoit, Shawn Michaels, and Triple H. Yeah. Shawn Michaels did the same thing Rhea Ripley did by just attacking and signing their name on the contract. So there is precedent in it for sure. So it wouldn't be the first time it's done. So it's not completely nonsensical. I just kind of hope that maybe Io at some point just kind of snaps and just demands to put her in the match as the champion. That would make me feel a little better about including Rhea from a storyline standpoint. Wow. Oh man, Sol Ruca with a cartwheel DDT off the top onto Chelsea Green, who sold that hilariously. But she was saved with a 2 count due to Alba Fire putting Chelsea Green's foot on the rope, who then ate a spear for her trouble. And then Zarya ate a shot from Piper Niven, who has now eaten a moonsault by Sol Ruca. So everybody is laid out, and Sol Ruca is now getting back in the ring. She's favoring that one knee a little bit, and she eats a code breaker. I'm not exactly sure what else to call it. Are we about to get an unprettier? Oh, reversal into a sunset flip. 2.9. Okay. Oh, man. Soul Snatcher interrupted and reversed, and Sol Ruca crashed and burned. Here's an unprettier. I think that's going to be it. That's it. Chelsea Green defends, but Sol Ruca makes a lot of fun out of it. Solid match. Great win by Chelsea Green. The reign continues. Our administration continues to thrive. We are not even close to being sick of winning yet with Chelsea Green and her Secret Hervice. Great stuff. Hot finish, too. Everybody getting involved. Great stuff. Teflon Don talking about 2K. I'm at the Tamina part of the Bloodline showcase, and I see Stephen Rage past 100. Dude, I hated that part of the showcase. I supremely hate the timed objectives in any of them. That was the one that gave me the most trouble, though, for sure. There's a War Games match too that is fun, but getting all the objectives is really difficulty. We've got Javon Evans and Trick Williams talking backstage real quick. Hold on. Javon's talking about this Retribution group. Oh. Whoa. Man, Trick is ice cold. Javon's. Oh, and here comes Lexus King to rub salt in the wound of Javon Evans. Javon's trying to get Trick's help to fight this group, and Trick's basically like, there ain't no we, man. It's just me, and I'm focused on getting my title. I don't care about none of that. Alexis just got smacked in the mouth for his trouble. And our lovely double champ Stephanie Vaquer is roaming the halls with both of her titles. I think we're going to see her next. So we'll see what happens with this, the aftermath. Or are they announcing Backlash probably from WrestleMania? So basically Trick Williams, I wouldn't say he's acting like a heel, but he's definitely acting like a loner. Just saying, I'm on my own. I ain't worried about all that. I'm worried about getting my title back. And then he's like, what, just because we both have dreads, are we supposed to be friends for something? And I'm like, dang, Trick, like that was borderline unnecessary. But nevertheless, there's some tension there between Trick Williams and Javon Evans, and then Lexis King got smacked in the mouth for his troubles for coming along and trying to act out of line. Teflon Don, about the War Games aspect of the showcase, there is a objective where you have to make every member of the opposing team bleed before you can win the match. But once everybody's in there, then all your teammates like try to start winning the match. And so it's really frustrating. It's not hard to win the match, but it's hard to get everything done before your team tries to win the match. Anyway, I'm really enjoying 2K25. I did not do a lot of my faction in the past. I really don't care for the whole DLC, not DLC thing, but like the microtransaction stuff. I have to buy the cards, and you can only use certain wrestlers to do certain objectives. I hate having to try to spend money just to get an item that you can compete for to try to complete an item, if that makes sense. But they have this world tour feature in my faction this year, which I just started today, and that's a lot of fun. So I'm really enjoying that. And then, getting all the bots in Astrobot Sophie is, I'm only probably, like I said, in the second world, so I bet the difficulty level hasn't ramped up too hard for me. But yeah, trying to find them all is really challenging, especially the ones that get like abducted right in front of you, and then you have to like chase them down. That's always tough for me. Let's see. Have I tried the My GM mode? So I have played GM mode on 23 and 24. I haven't started GM mode in 2K25 yet. I can't imagine it's super different from previous years, but I really loved GM mode. I wish you could tinker around with it. So, the older I've gotten, the less interested I am in beating a game because it's difficult. I just like to play it to have fun. And that's one thing I like about modern like PS5 games and stuff, is that when you put it on easy mode, they just call it like experience the story mode, because that's what I'm really trying to do. Is just trying to play through the story and enjoy it. I'm not trying to rage quit over video games anymore. I'm too old for that. But it still happens from time to time. However, GM mode, I love that. Yeah, I love booking shows and building feuds and all that kind of stuff. And then it's I think it's a lot of fun sometimes, and you have to try to keep them from getting injured and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, I love the GM mode. It's a lot of fun. I have not done this year's yet, but once I get into it, I think it'll be a lot of fun. And then trying to sign new. I will say the 2K23's GM mode I liked better than 2K24, because in 2K24 sometimes you had to have because the budget was so weird, you had to have those creator wrestler jobbers on your roster, and I'm like, I don't want to do that. I just want to have main event talent or NXT talent or whatever, wrestlers who actually are on TV, or legends or whatever, and do that kind of stuff. That's the kind of stuff I would prefer to do. But yeah, so gaming's a lot of fun. If I can, I can try to do some more streaming, if I get the time for it, to go through. If there's anything you guys want to see me do on 2K or even Astrobot at some point, but I mean that's a little out of the realm of Mark by Wrestling. But I would love to do some extra 2K time and give me an excuse to be in there more. I'm going through the My Rise story right now. I created myself, and then also created, as we're coming back to NXT now, created a CAW of my daughter too, Rosemary, who you guys might have met from a previous stream. But the one thing I really like about the community creations now that are so far more advanced than they were in old games and stuff is that I actually have my tattoos uploaded in the game, so I'm able to like put my real tattoos and stuff on my Create a Wrestler, which is such a little vanity thing, but I really like it. I think it's just such a neat thing to see. I do not give him my same body because, again, vanity, and it's a video game. So he's much more in shape than I am, but whatever. All right, so we got the family backstage, minus Tony D'Angelo, who's actually just walking up now, trying to hype themselves up for their 6-person tag tonight. Teflon Don telling me your GM stories. In my GM mode, I broke up the Street Profits and have Montez in a feud with Jacob Fatu for the U.S. title. Dude, I would watch that. I would watch that on TV. I'd see Tez and Fatu, man. Those two could have a lot of fun in the ring, for sure. Okay. So Stax, I believe, has asked Tony D'Angelo to hang back tonight, and they're going to go at it by themselves. So I believe that match is not yet. Okay, they're announcing Stephanie Vaquer. Here she comes. The double champ. Real quick, Sophie says, I heard in My Rise the 2 wrestlers you create used to date. Actually, you have storyline choices you can make, Sophie. So that's one of the options. You can say they used to date, or you can say they used to train together, or you can say they were childhood friends. But that is one of the options you can choose. And mine, I just said they used to train together. Have I watched WWE Evolve? No, I have not watched any WWE Evolve yet. That's on Wednesdays. I'm usually not really available for watching programs on Wednesdays, and by the time I get around to catching up with stuff, it's already time for like SmackDown and stuff on Friday. So I've been trying to read online about things happening with Evolve just so I can stay up on current events, but I have not watched it yet. Have you guys watched Evolve yet? Is it any good? I'm curious to hear from you guys what you think of WWE Evolve on Tubi, as I'm told. Usually do showcase mode after your GM gets boring after a while. Yeah, after I've done GM for like 1 year, it's hard for me to be motivated to go back and do it a second time. But the first year is always a lot of fun. Stephanie getting the Stephanie chance. Sophie, has the new Daredevil episode dropped yet today?
This is difficult for me because English is not my first language. Wrestling is my first language. It is.
I love that. I wish Three Diglets was in here. I could tell him yet, but he said this on Roadblock. She came out. She just said, English is not my first language, but wrestling is my first language. That's a cold line, and I love it.
Because I want to make history and make it in the best women's division on the planet.
Okay. Calling NXT Women the best women's division on the planet. I mean, listen, you're going to have to fight hard to prove her wrong.
Against one of the best. I prove why I am La Primera.
Proves why she is La Primera. Oh, she's getting La Primera chance. Okay. She's smiling. She's enjoying the love from the crowd. She deserves it.
Makes me the best of the best. La mejor de las mejores. And now, I'm waiting for my first opponent. The woman to step into this ring. Look me in the eyes.
Ho ho! Stephanie said she's waiting for her first opponent, and they did not wait long. Here comes Jordan Grace. We're going from one main course to another main course, dude. I don't know about like going from one babyface feud to another babyface feud, though. You know, Stephanie's a little down on herself about English not being her first language, but she cut a really good promo. Oh, okay. Man, okay, Jordan was in mid-sentence and just got cut off by Jada Parker, who snatched her mic too. She said the line starts behind Jada Parker, and you notice, man. Jada's putting over Stephanie. Man, Jada. Jada Parker has leapt to the front of the line and just got in Stephanie's face. And I love that kind of promo. These kind of promos they don't happen so much anymore. We got Hank and Tank backstage. I'm going to talk over them. I'm sorry. But because I want to put over these ladies. Jada's promo made the entire NXT arena acknowledge, no pun intended, acknowledged Stephanie's greatness and what she's done and congratulated her, but still warned her, I'm next and you don't want this and I'm going to take what you got. And that is some real old school, promo challenging right there. So I'm all for it. I'm all for seeing what Stephanie and Jada can do together in the ring. I wonder how quickly that match will happen because we'll have about a month. We're about a month away from Stand and Deliver. I don't think there's any more specialty episodes, so we're probably just getting weekly NXT TV until Stand and Deliver, the weekend of WrestleMania. So let's see what happens, guys. Let's see what happens. But Jada Parker has stamped her card. Maybe there's a chance we get Jada versus Jordan first in a number one contender match, but it's exciting stuff, guys. Exciting stuff. What do you guys think of that segment? What do you guys think of a potential Jada Parker, Stephanie Vaquer feud? As I catch up and say hey to you guys, Justin, my friend, wrestling is life and wrestling is death, but also wrestling is life. Amen. By the way, if none of you guys watch Ted Lasso, that's totally where that accent is coming from. I don't just slip into random accents without a reason. But yeah. Anyway, Jada wants all that smoke. As you said, Justin. Tyrell, Breed, Black Panther Gaming, welcome, buddy. Good to see you, man. I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad you're here with us. You guys, if you're just joining us, Chelsea Green successfully defended her United States title against Sol Ruca in a fun back-and-forth match involving outside interference on both sides. Sol Ruca really, I think, proved she belonged in that ring. I think she's got a long, successful road ahead of her eventually when she gets to the main roster too. And I could totally see her from watching that match. She could totally be a U.S. champion or an Intercontinental champion or even one of the world champions one day. But yeah, it was a great match. It was a great back and forth, great opener for tonight. Sophie Dofi, did I hear WWE is hosting the roast of WrestleMania on night 2 of Mania? So yeah. So for those of you who haven't heard, they are doing a roast of WrestleMania hosted by Tony Hinchcliffe. He does the Kill Tony shows. He also made some headlines for saying some pretty ugly things at a Trump rally before the election about Puerto Rico. But a couple of positive things I'll say about Hinchcliffe and this. One, this event is happening after WrestleMania night 2 in Vegas. And to my knowledge, it won't be televised. So I don't know that it's going to make a lot of waves in the greater wrestling community if there is something that's a little unprofessional that happens there. Also, Tony Hinchcliffe is I don't know if I'd call him a diehard wrestling fan, but before I knew who he was as a comedian, I actually saw him on episodes of Joe Rogan's podcast when Joe Rogan had wrestlers as his guest. So Joe Rogan on different times had Ric Flair, Jake the Snake Roberts, a few others. And Tony Hinchcliffe was always there, and he seemed to kind of be the historian guy in the room because Joe maybe knows who these people are from like maybe the 80s or something, but that's also where his memory stops, with those guys. And Tony Hinchcliffe would be the one talking about, Jake having the Cobra and putting it on Macho Man's arm and Ric Flair, drinking with Andre the Giant. He was the one who really knew the stuff that all of us would remember. So that tells me that he probably has a respect for it. So while roasts are what they are, and he'll probably say plenty of off-color stuff, I don't know that it will make fun of the business in that. That's my assumption. But, of course, you know what happens when you assume. Anyways, Hank and Tank are no, not Hank and Tank, sorry. That's Jensen and Inamura in the ring. They may be taking on Hank and Tank here. Honestly, I didn't pay attention to their backstage promo. But, yeah, that looks like that's what we got. Got a unannounced tag team match here tonight, Hank and Tank versus Briggs and Inamura. Who do you guys have for that tonight? I feel like Briggs and Inamura, like, I don't mean any disrespect for Hank and Tank. They come out here dressed like Public Enemy, and they remind me of Heavy Machinery, but not in the best way. But, they do remind me of – they're more agile than both of those teams, though. I'll say that, as they showed 2 weeks ago. They did a double suicide dive on these guys. So maybe an entertaining match. But we'll see what happens. Yes, I do believe that, I think B would be very happy about Miss Parker from before. So, well, they're already breaking down this match and going outside the ring to fight. Inamura, by the way, Briggs' tag team partner. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but I know sometimes we like to hate on WWE Speed because nobody really seems to care about the Speed champions or anything like that. But Inamura and Ivar from the War Raiders had a Speed match a couple of weeks ago. Really entertaining stuff. 3-minute match, just no bread, no water, just meat, just hoss fight. It was really good. They just let them go for 3 minutes, and those guys brought it. It was very impressive. Very entertaining, and definitely what I like to see out of Speed. Because if Speed isn't going to be doing anything beyond the streaming service, beyond X platform, just let those guys go out and do what they want for 3 minutes. Just let them go have at it and tear it up. And that's what I really like to see, because it's only a 3-minute match, and they can go, rile up the crowd or whatever. So good stuff. So let's see. Catching up here, anything? I think we're mostly caught up here for tonight. As Inamura here taking it to Hank and Tank. Both of them trying something and both of them catching hands. NXT going on the road in Florida this weekend. So they're doing their house shows. So we'll see that still to come tonight. We still have NXT Underground, an underground match with Trick Williams and Eddy Thorpe. And we've also got a 6-person tag between Tony D'Angelo's family and The Culling, which is the name of Sean Spears' group. And, oh, man, they were trying to do Hank and Tank were trying to do like a double Vader bomb to the outside. They both missed and both ate ground. It was an interesting visual, but they both wiped out hard. And then also tonight, Ricky Saints is in action against Ridge Holland. So interesting to see how that may turn up. So curious to know how you guys feel about that card and where we're going from there. Let's see. Crowd's starting to wake up again here. But yeah. As we're here, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe if you haven't, as we are working here at Marked by Wrestling to build ourselves up to super chat status and get eligible for that application. We're still working on our viewership hours, as we've gotten really blessed with our subscriber numbers as of late. So just hoping to get more of that into play here soon. Also, I have a goal to be verified and monetized by WrestleMania. If not, we'll shoot for the next PLE after that, maybe by Backlash, and see if we can get there. But I would really love to be full on super chatting and have our super chat championship in place by Stand and Deliver, since we've taken on the role of NXT caretakers here in our family of YouTube channels. So this match going okay. The crowd, I wouldn't say is bored. They're just not hot. It's funny. It's funny how, we kind of have this scale of excitedness with crowds lately. I would say their crowds are all right, but like Hank on the corner doing some old school 80s, running back and forth on the apron, trying to hype this crowd up. He is selling out to try to get this crowd hyped up. Hot tag. And this crowd's just, I wouldn't say they're bored. I think they just have not, it feels like maybe they just haven't fully bought into Hank and Tank yet. And I can understand that. They're still kind of new, and they're not doing anything wrong. They're serviceable acts here, and they have a lot of energy and a lot of agility, but there's just something not there. Man, they got a ton of energy. Like, Hank has not really stopped moving. He's like doing his best Claudio / Cesaro impression here, trying to run around, hit anything that moves. Oh, caught him with like a black hole slam. Shout out to Abyss. Tags Tank back in. They're about to meet in the middle here. A double avalanche. And then a double team move. Will they capitalize? Tank going for a slow pin here. 1, 2, 2.5. They had a tandem offense here, like a back suplex into a power bomb, which was effective on the landing. Yeah, I can't quantify it, you guys. It's weird because I see Hang and Take. They are working hard. These guys are working hard, but bad things happen. They both went up top and they both crashed for different reasons. Jensen has been tagged by Inamura, and he's still running the ropes. Clotheslines Tank down, and Inamura shaking off the top. Flies off the top, and that'll do it. Jensen and Inamura come out victorious. Yeah, so I would say a hard worked match. It and the crowd, kind of rose and fell at different times of the match, and not bad. Serviceable midpoint in the show match. I think nothing wrong with it at all. Yeah. So this is some of that. Seeing Hank and Tank work, where it kind of reminds me of the developmental side of NXT. I think these guys showed a lot of good stuff, and I think with some proper shine and refinement, they could do a lot. I'm not sure if they'll ever. I'm not sure if they'll be on the level of some of these main roster tag teams that we talk about on a weekly basis. But you know what? They put on a good showing. All right, our 6-person tag, as we see the Culling making their way backstage towards the front. Culling versus the Family coming up next. And we will have a lot of fun there. So that is our next match coming up after the break. Let me know who you got in the comments between the Culling and the Family. Seems like they're doing some interesting things, trying to tell some stories here within the family after Tony D'Angelo lost the North American title. A&B Combos Wrestling Edition. Welcome. All right, let's see. Let's welcome our brethren and sistren into the chat. What up, everyone? Sophie Dopey, who's getting moved from NXT. Hit that like button. All right. Welcome, guys. Glad to have you. I don't know if you guys, have been keeping up. And I know we're still working on our project to get you guys a live feed to NXT, and I hope we can still do that for you soon. If you're watching the replay, make sure you see Miss Parker, who has arrived and was not afraid to step in the face of one Miss New Champion, Stephanie Vicaire. A swig of Celsius for Miss Parker. Anyway, who also said, and you know this, man, in her promo. So she's embracing the Friday-ness of it all for sure. But yeah, the women continue to be the best part of this show. But we haven't even seen, Obafemi yet. We haven't seen anybody from TNA tonight yet. And Chelsea Green and Sol Ruca opened up the show with a great opener. We just had a decent tag match. And we've also got a 6-person tag on the way, not to mention another matchup from another outing from Ricky Saints and an NXT Underground match, which I assume will be the main event of the evening. But Trick Williams got that edge. Here's a question for you guys. How do you guys feel about I almost want to call them Punishers, but that's like kind of the comic book MCU kind of fandom in me to think about it. But like, how do you guys feel about aggressive baby faces? We really hadn't had a ton of that since the Stone Cold Steve Austin days, but lately we see we've seen, you could call the Street Profits heels if you want to, but are they really heels? Think about that. Jada Parker also doesn't really work like a heel, but she's got a level of aggression that is beyond, say, a Sol Ruca or somebody like that. And then also Trick Williams hasn't done anything heelish, but he is just tired of dealing with foolishness and not afraid to say it out loud. And that kind of put him at odds with Javon Evans backstage earlier tonight, treating himself as a bit of a lone wolf, saying he doesn't need anybody's help and he don't want to help nobody else. He's just trying to get his title back, but not saying anything particularly villainous. How do you guys feel about, I would just call them aggressive baby faces right now, as that works? I didn't even give the biggest example who I thought of when I said Bianca Belair, because we're all sitting there wondering if she's going to turn heel, even now after the whole Naomi and Jade thing has revealed itself. People still asking questions about Bianca, but she is a woman who just will not tolerate playing in her face anymore. And I don't mind that one bit. I like that. I don't want every babyface to be like that. I don't want every wrestler to be a certain way as it is. The buffet is always better when you got a whole bunch of different kinds of food. But what do you guys feel about the sort of proliferation of that happening a little more and more on different points on the roster? We're seeing at least 1 or 2 people per show, giving that energy. Even Cody from time to time brings that energy. So just curious what you guys think about it, and we will revisit your thoughts on it here in a minute now that we're back. And Eddy Thorpe has entered the locker room and ain't nobody wanting to talk to him. Ridge is the only person saying hi.
You know what? Screw every single one of them. Eddie, I like that actually. And you're right. To bring in this shiny new toy, Ricky Saints off the street, when I put years to this company, it would be shafted left, right, center. When you put years to this company, you know what it is? Too. Saints is a sports entertainer, just like Trick Williams. Well, I'm gonna deal with my sports entertainer tonight.
Huh.
Just make sure you.
Interesting. This is the most interesting I've ever found Eddy Thorpe and Ridge Holland, who just had a conversation backstage. Eddy Thorpe didn't go full John Cena and start acting like a victim, but he did say, no matter to Ridge too, he's like, you and me have a lot in common. No matter how hard we work, no matter how much time we put in, some people will never accept us. And I mean, listen, it doesn't matter where you fall on Big E. We all know that's true about Ridge Holland, right? I mean, I'm one of them. But, and then Ridge Holland responds with, yeah, it's like, we both got matches tonight. NXT, criticizing NXT, saying they just keep bringing in their shiny new toys to play with. And he called Ricky Saints a shiny new toy. And Eddie responds with, well, he and Trick, they're just both sports entertainers. And I'm like, dang, we're pulling back a lot of the curtain here for Eddy Thorpe and Ridge Holland, which is kind of wild. I didn't expect that at all. Shut me up, made me pay attention. So you know what? I'll give them another shot. So we have the Culling making their entrance now. And they're an interesting group to me. They're not as creepy as a Wyatt group or a Ministry, if you're going all the way back to the Attitude Era. And they're also not Horseman level of like refined either. They're not fully, they need a little bit, just looking at their gear. Again, I'm a visual guy for wrestling. If they could work on matching up their gear a little bit, it should be fun. It looks like we might be, okay, no, we're on straight mixed tag rules here. For a second, I thought it was tornado rules because everybody just started fighting, but the ladies are starting first. But I'm still remembering some of the names here. And Stacks here really trying to prove himself as the underboss of the family in this match. So we're in split screen now. Tony D'Angelo backstage watching the match. And shout out to Tony D'Angelo. He's just staring straight at the TV. Do you remember for all those years and the Vince years and the Kevin Dunn years where everybody who was watching TV would have to watch it like this? Anyway, apparently they're not doing that anymore. Thank God. So as it is, we've got a 6-man action in here. When I say man, I mean person. Wow. Izzy Dame flies in with a flying code breaker. That was nasty looking. Can't remember the lady's name from the family right now, but I'll do better and try to learn their names, especially if these are going to get pushed. But as we're doing this and the action is going back and forth, fast-paced. Ooh, sick kick to the face by Stacks. And he's in there with Briggs right now, who's rolling himself out of the ring. All right, so picking back up with some of our energy talk and our aggression talk. A&B Combo says, we need a babyface not afraid to give a little dirt under the fingernails, as Booker T 5 times likes to say. Absolutely. Absolutely. You can be dirty without being corrupt. Those are two different things. And, it's the difference between Alonzo in Training Day and John McClane from Die Hard. John McClane from Die Hard was a, blue collar, rough around the edges, vulnerable, but rough, not afraid to get dirty guy without being deceitful and, corrupted like Training Day. So I feel you on that. Absolutely. Justin Hallen Crane Green says, we need that energy. We're on commercial now, picture in picture, as all the action spilled to the outside with a giant, plancha to the outside that knocks everybody down. That's something WWE still does a lot, is preparing to go to commercial with a big splattering out on the outside of the ring. Dossie Chatham. Welcome, Dossie, by the way. If I haven't said hello this evening, glad you're here. He said variety is definitely better. 100% true there. I mean, that's what makes a great show. A great show is catering to so many of the different kinds of needs that you have in the audience and those different things your fans want to see. So, and Roadblock was a great example of that. The Roadblock card, while only like 5 matches or so, really gave something for everybody. You know, you had that high flying tag action of the Hardys and Fraxium. You had a great technical storytelling match between Jordan Grace and Roxanne Perez. You had the big meaty men slapping meat between big Moose there and Obafemi. Had a great street fight with Ethan Page and Javon Evans, and of course the women headlining, just great, just the best women's division in pro wrestling right now. So between Stephanie and Julia. So the ladies from both factions still going back and forth in the middle of the ring as we're still picture in picture. I hope you guys are doing well. And just again, if you are a new visitor to Marked by Wrestling, one of the things that we do here is just advocate for the belief of what you're watching. You know, it's so easy to get cynical and to lose the joy, the love of professional wrestling. And that's not what we want to do here. We want to maintain that. Just like how watching wrestling, you want to maintain your suspension of disbelief. We just want to maintain the joy of what we're watching, find the positive in it, enjoy that together. We can certainly discuss the things that disappoint us, but we're not going to let that take over our identities as wrestling fans. Because as I say at the end of every video I do, being marked by wrestling, being a mark just means you believe, because believing makes wrestling better. So we want wrestling to be better. So let's take time to believe. Now, we're still at commercial at this time. So we'll be back any second here, I think, but as the action continues. So we see Jada Parker, and, you know, there was a potential tease of Jordan Grace being a contender for Stephanie Vaquer. Tell me, what do you guys think? What would your solution be for Stephanie being a double champion right now? Do you would you have, let's just say you wanted to remove the North American title from Stephanie to have that available for the rest of the women in this really well-stacked women's division? How would you have that belt removed? Would you just have a contender face her one-on-one? Would you do like a multi-woman match? One of the things I was reminded of was WrestleMania 2000. If everybody remembers WrestleMania 2000, when Kurt Angle held the European and Intercontinental title at the same time, they put him in a triple threat match. It was 2 out of 3 falls, and each fall was for a different title. And I think about that sometimes. Great double team in here by the Culling, where Briggs had Stacks held in held kind of like an Agori special move, and then opened up. Can't remember this dude's name. I still got to learn the Culling's names. Just opened chops on his chest and then came off the top with a bulldog off the top. Pretty visual. All right. Okay. So we still have Brooks Jensen and Stacks Lorenzo and the ring here. Building up, Stacks trying to come back. We'll see what happens here. Are you guys looking forward to SmackDown on Friday? And if so, what's your what do you imagine happening? We've got new tag team champions in the house. Here's a question: what do you think is in the cards for the tag team titles at WrestleMania? With the Street Profits now becoming the new champions, do you think we'll get just a a one-on-one team type of match, or do you think we'll go multi-man for that match? Because I could see it going multiple ways here. Curious what you guys think. Man, sick elbow off the top. Nobody Home by Nico Vance coming off the top. I had to Google the Cullings names. I'm just being transparent with you guys. I'm still not familiar with some of these guys because before they joined this group, they just weren't quite having it. Now Luca in here. Luca's a house of fire. Oh, he's hitting hard too. He's laying his stuff in there. Okay. And he is fired up and the crowd's waking up too. This is what you got to do. AJ was saying this earlier on Raw, double shoulder block, and he made that look good. Luca's outshining Stacks here. I mean, no disrespect to Stacks, but man. The crowd is chanting something, but I can't make out what it is. But his hot tag has woken up the crowd. He flare flips out of the corner and then springboard shoulder blocks. Dang. And Izzy Dame came in and broke up the pin. And then the ladies have catfighted their way out of the ring. Uh-oh. Shatter Machine. The Don is pleased backstage. Still watching. Did not come to ringside. Oh, no. The as to be named Retribution. Oh, my goodness. Just attacked Tony D'Angelo backstage. And that has distracted the family who have seen it on the monitor. Oh, man. Izzy. Dude, you know what? Izzy's not bad. Izzy's not bad. Izzy and Nico have both shown me a lot tonight. KOD from Jensen, and that's a win for the Culling. Justin Hallencrane, the Culling or NXT version of the Wyatt 6 to me. Yeah, I say like a less spooky version of the Wyatt 6. They're a little unsettling. And I think that's fine. You don't want to go all the way Wyatt in NXT. Because that really limits your potential in storytelling. But the Retribution crowd, who have not formally been named yet, attacked Tony backstage, and they did that sort of alley-oop powerbomb backstage through a table. I've never seen them do that from the outside of the ring, anywhere outside of the ring. It was nasty work. Tony D'Angelo, who's already, at least in the stories they're telling, suffering from a bad back. That's what led to him losing the North American title, has now been put through a table backstage by this Retribution group. So we'll have to see what comes from that. Dawsey, you believe our tag team titles are going to be in a multi-team match. Okay, Ava is talking to Stephanie Vaquer. Let's listen in. They are interrupted by Fallon Henley. Again.
She already has enough chance to shake up. I mean, not my problem. She wants to be double champion, right? La Primera? Finally, you already know I am La Primera. Oh, do I? Then you have no problem facing me after your match with Jada. Done.
Dude, next week, we're getting double Stephanie. Stephanie is defending the North American title against Fallon Henley, and then also taking on Jada Parker. Which I got to say, Ava as Carmen Petrovich and Ashante Adonis are making their way to the ring. Ava is a silly GM, I got to say. Fallon Henley, who lost the North American Women's title, right, to Stephanie Vaquer, has been harassing Ava for a rematch for weeks. And at every opportunity, Ava always gives her some kind of take on, well, I just don't have time for this right now. And you're kind of like, but isn't it kind of your job to make a decision on whether or not she gets a match or not? And it wasn't until this backstage promo that Stephanie was like, give her the rematch. She's like, okay, you heard what she said. And that's so weird to me. Ava seems like, I don't know. It's funny. She seems like a GM who, like, doing the job of the GM might be like the last thing she wants to be doing at the moment. And I'm not saying anything about Ava as like a person, right? It's just like as her character seems so disinterested in actually making decisions sometimes. Very, very different take on being a GM from what I've seen in years past. But next week we get George Lewis. Welcome to the chat, my friend. Thanks for being here. Just made an announcement for next week that Stephanie Vaquer is pulling double duty next week. She is, they have not confirmed that she'll be defending the world title, but she will be in action against Miss Parker. But she'll also be facing Fallon Henley for the North American title. And AMB Combos here with the comment, ooh, stacked night for Miss Vaquer. We sense Fallon getting that North American strap, but retention against Miss Parker. I think you're onto something, because that promo suggested that the North American title match would happen after the match with Miss Parker. And Miss Parker, while shooting her shot, does have to contend with Jordynne Grace being a part of that equation as well, who tried to stake her claim against Stephanie, but was interrupted by Miss Parker. So we'll see what happens, but it's going to be a feast for fandom next week, as it always is in NXT. But we're getting double Stephanie next week, and who knows, that North American title, they could be rebooking that real fast. Which, to be honest, the women's division is so plentiful with talent. I don't think that's a bad call. You could move that belt off her in so many different ways, and putting it back on Fallon isn't a bad call, because then you can build to stand and deliver. And you've got Jordan, you've got Jada, you've got Sol Ruca, you've got Zari. I mean, I know Sol Ruca and Zari are in a tag team right now, but like, you've got so many different potential contenders you could throw at Fallon for that I think that's a great move. Even, and I don't mean to call Fallon Henley a transitional champion, but with Stephanie Vaquer being the world title, I think it would be more interesting to have a heel holding that North American title going in to stand and deliver. So George also telling us that Kalani Jordan, yeah, Kalani, another great contender, a former North American champion in her own right. Nikita Lyons is there. No, I don't. I'm not a hate on Nikita Lyons. She gets a reaction wherever she goes, and while I'm not entirely convinced that she is on the same level as some of those other ladies that I met, a bad outing from Nikita Lyons is still better than a lot of other women's wrestling on our TVs these days. So NXT still cooking, even 3 or 4 rungs down on their competitors' rosters. But Georgia said, I'm going to say that Stephanie Vaquer is going to retain the Women's North American Championship. Okay, you see her still going over Fallon Henley. Cool. I mean, I could really see it going either way. But we are back now, and we're recapping the Retribution. I'm going to just keep calling them Retribution until they give me a name, because I'm tired of trying to be creative and coming up with something. And ain't nobody safe. As they attack Tony D'Angelo, put him through a table in the back. The danger is moved, ladies and gentlemen, from the parking lot to backstage. By the way, revisiting 2K again from earlier tonight, our discussions, the backstage areas when you can fight, one of the backstage areas you can fight in is the WWE Archives, where you can literally throw someone through a barbershop window. Love it. George Lewis, not a fan of Fatal Influence. You say they need to split them up. I will say this. I am surprised that JC Jane has not elevated more, because she's been around since the Mandy Rose era of NXT women. And she even, split up with Gigi and from there seemed to be destined for something, but just didn't happen. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure what to make of her. But also, though, who we haven't seen in a while, I don't know if their name is actually Chemical X, but they were, but Shotzi and Gigi, and who's the third one? I feel so bad. Tatum, maybe? Is it Tatum Paxley? But I haven't seen them in a few weeks either. Not sure where they've been. Sorry, I got to manage a channel mascot here for just a second, guys. All right, so we got Carmen Petrovic versus Jacy Jayne here tonight. Who do you have in this match? It'd be hard for me to pick against Jacy Jayne. That dang numbers game, as JR would say, unless we get some interference. So I'm just going to go with my gut and say Jacy here, but we'll see what happens. Oh, discus punch misses in the corner. And Carmen rolls back. The referee's a little out of position, though. She's kind of in their way a little bit. Okay, we're coming back in. So SmackDown on Friday going to be from Italy. From Bologna, Italy, not Bologna, in case you're wondering. So, should be. And then next Friday, SmackDown coming from London. So there's going to be quite some crowds for the next few weeks, guys. Now, just as a programming reminder, SmackDown airs at our normal times. This approaching Monday, Raw will air on Netflix at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. But SmackDown times remain unchanged. However, since they're airing in the UK and in different cities in Europe, there will be spoilers because they're not airing live. So check yourselves on Friday. Make sure you don't get spoiled. And join A&B Combos in their chat on Fridays. And then Mondays, we'll make sure that there is a place for you to chat for those of you who aren't encumbered by things like a job, not a job, but work during that time of the day if you want to watch Raw live. Work both is and is not an encumbrance at the same time. A&B Combo saying, let's go Petrovic. But yeah, that numbers game, I'm telling you, man, it's a hard thing to overcome. Especially NXT. NXT is dangerous out in these streets. It's hard to get a clean win in NXT. Once again, if you are so inclined or interested or led, as we are working our way to unlock super chats and membership at Marked by Wrestling, we are working our way through our viewership hours to try to do that. But in the meantime, if you're wanting to donate to the channel and support the cause to get Marked by Wrestling up to a fancier, more official status as we are aiming to and having goals for, you can do so below at either of those venues. If you have any further questions, feel free to reach out to me in the chat, and I'll be glad to answer and address anything after the show. But my goal, ladies and gentlemen, again, if you're a new joiner of our chat and of our community, my goal and my young, developing NXT-ish channel, if you will, is to try to get to verification and monetization by WrestleMania weekend. I'm hoping that I can do that in conjunction with either. Oh, Jacy landed a discus punch. She put some stank on that. 1, 2, 3. That is that. Game over for Carmen, and it didn't particularly matter to the numbers game as Fatal Influence comes in to celebrate with her. My goal is to try to get locked in position so we can have an inaugural Super Chat champion, I'm thinking, through my weekly NXTs to do it for Stand and Deliver. But that is written in pencil, and temporarily. It is not tattooed truth just yet, but if we can get to that goal, it'll be an exciting time. And if not, as a dad myself, like I say to my kids when we're on a trip, we'll just get there when we get there. Either way. But that's the goal. That's what we're looking for. So if you want to help out with that, keep sharing these videos. Help me just to get my viewership count up. Not viewership count, but viewership hours up. And we'll be there before you know it. Hank and Tank frustrated in the locker room after losing their match. I still swear they look like the love child of Public Enemy and Heavy Machinery. Comes Wesley and Tyson and Tyreek coming talking trash. You know what's funny about NXT is how realistic a lot of the feuds are. So many of these matches just get built by guys talking trash to each other in the locker room. That is such real life sports right there, as guys just mouthing off at each other in the locker room and not starting beef. So it's simple, but it's also just like, oh, this guy happened to walk by while we were, sulking in our loss. And then they start talking trash, and then there you go. Well, Ricky Saints, ladies and gentlemen, is in the building. And we've got his first singles match, I believe, since joining NXT versus Ridge Holland. So here we are, ladies and gentlemen, Ricky Saints versus Ridge Holland. Tell me who you got in the comments. I don't know how I can't answer for you, but for me, I don't know how I can pick against Ricky Saints just yet. I think there's a possibility, long-term thinking, that we could see Ricky Saints and Shawn Spears at Stand and Deliver for the North American title. But we'll see if they want to get Ricky there that fast. But dude's going to have himself a feud for sure coming up soon, an official feud to get him really cemented into the roster. As so right now, he's just wrestling. So, all right. So Stand and Deliver Saturday, April 19th, the morning of WrestleMania night one. So it'll be 10 a.m. West Coast time, 1 p.m. East Coast time. So, it's going to be a long day of wrestling on the 19th there, but be well worth it and a lot of fun. So join us, please, as we have a fun weekend of watching wrestling together and just enjoying it for what it is. So that being said, we're going to have, when we come back from break, the singles debut of Ricky Saints at NXT. Justin Hellengren calling for Ridge Holland, calling for Ridge with the W. Okay, we will give you your flowers and shower you with the credit you deserve if you call that correctly, my friend, because that is I would say he's a bit of an underdog in this match with the hype train that followed Ricky Saints into NXT. So we'll see what comes to fruition in this match. So that being said, any more thoughts anybody wants to share about John Cena while we are in commercial break? I'm curious your guys' continued thoughts on that as that came along. So I got to say, it was a great promo. I'll echo what I said at the beginning of the show, that it was a great promo. I now did not realize that I did not realize that him not changing was something I really wanted for him as a heel. I think so many of us were so in love with the idea of him changing music, changing gear. I mean, he even said himself that was something he probably would have done 10 years ago. He did an interview with Chris Van Vliet, and now I'm really racking my brain as to whether or not he already knew then if he was going to turn heel, because that interview was not that long ago. It was before Elimination Chamber for sure, but I'm maybe even before the Royal Rumble. But I gotta wonder if he already knew that was in the plans or if it wasn't. Not that it really matters, but if he planted that seed for that to raise everyone's expectations, in order to dash them, which is such a heel thing to do. I'm curious. I'm just curious if he did that on purpose. But the whole Willy Wonka, you get nothing, you lose, good day, sir. Just perfect, because a Hollywood man like Cena, who is a Hollywood dude now, he's still getting those sweet, sweet merch checks for every city he shows up in that creates branded Fruity Pebble John Cena gear for the last time is now. And people are still going to buy it. People are still going to buy it. And so he just gets to come out, and he can come out and roast them all if he wants to, being like, no, I'm not changing. And all of you are still paying me for it. It's so I'm here for that. I'm here for him not putting all his eggs in one basket. I wasn't disappointed, but I noticed that he didn't mention trying to get title number 17. He didn't mention The Rock. He didn't mention selling his soul, any of those things in that promo. That was just a straight, nasty breakup promo with the fans for 15 years of frustration. And that's all he was focused on. Didn't even really talk about Cody that much either. And Cody gets to be in the position of saying, you whiny victim complex man, you better not bring this guy to WrestleMania. So it makes him look stronger. Cena is being antithetical to who he's been in his entire career, which is the best way for him to heal out. Jada promo.
Nobody gets in my way of me getting what I want. And what I want is to walk into Las Vegas and stand and deliver as the NXT Women's Champion. And next week, we're not shooting dice, we're not playing no cards, and we damn sure not spinning no wheels. We are getting a new NXT Women's Champion. And you're looking right at it. Clock.
Listen, y'all. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when Jada Parker comes to the main roster. She may not win the NXT title before she leaves NXT, but I'll tell you this right now, she's coming to that main roster. She can rock promos in her sleep. She's coming. She is coming. Man, if I only, she and an aggressive Bianca would be such a great duo. I would love that so much, but I can't get ahead of myself. I don't want to disappoint myself. All right, Ridge Holland comes in, and they're already trying to get at each other before they even ring the bell. Ricky Saints and Ridge Holland, as I catch up. A&B Combo's thoughts on John Cena and new. I know we haven't done our actual WrestleMania prediction show. I know that's in the cards for the future, but good to know where you're already thinking there. Rickardy here in the chat. Rickardy, good to see you, friend. Thank you for being here. Dossie Chatham, I'm still in an abusive relationship with John Cena. Listen, it's hard. It's hard to leave people you've been with for a long time. And sometimes you just want to look past their flaws and stay with them. I get it. But only in a wrestling context. That's really unhealthy in real life, everybody. But, just so you know. George is not convinced that Jada has a chance at winning on next week, which is fair. I would highly be skeptical as of Stephanie losing both titles. I don't think that's going to happen at all next week. I think she's more likely, if she's going to lose either of those titles, is to lose the North American title than the world title. But either way, I'm hyped for both those matches, and I'm hyped for Stephanie to wrestle double duty. Hope she gets out of it uninjured. But, yeah, I'm hyped for both those matches. Justin Hallencrane wanting Parker and Jade as a tag team. Jada and Jade. That could work. I got to admit, I think I've been a little hard on Jade Cargill. I think I've been a little impatient with her development. I'm very ready for what I assume is going to be her versus Naomi at WrestleMania. I just want to kind of rip the Band-Aid off and see how she's developed as a talent in this time off she's had. Meanwhile, action going back and forth here with Ricky and Ridge. Oh, Ridge with a stiff elbow shot right to the chin. Ricky checking his teeth. Rickardy, not a fan of Cena right now. Cena always sucks. You're part of the problem, Rickardy. No, I'm just kidding. You're not, man. More power to you, dude. George was not a fan of the JC Jane Carmen Petrovich match. It was okay. It was, it wasn't. It. I'm not sure. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't call it a filler match, but every card of every wrestling show has to, at some point, is going to, especially in 2-hour shows like this, it's going to have a match that brings you down just a little bit to help you conserve your energy. So we'll see what happens with the rest of the show. But right now, giving Ricky and Ridge time to shine here. Also in the back, I should have pointed out during the Jada Parker promo that just happened prior to this match, it was clear that Carmen Petrovich and Ashanti Adonis were having an argument backstage that Carmen stormed away from. So there's trouble in paradise there, and I'm not talking Kofi Kingston. But more predictions here. Why don't you save the NXT, George? Why don't you save the NXT Women's North American Championship match to Stand to Deliver? We don't know what's going to happen yet, George. She could end up wrestling twice at Stand to Deliver as well if she still holds both titles. If it was up to me, I would have 2 different wrestlers holding those titles once Stand and Deliver came around, so that way you could have 2 separate matches. But I think they may just want to show off their champion right now. She's holding both belts. She can defend it twice. Very Bret Hart 1994 take on all comers kind of mentality. So I don't see the harm in them doing it once. Certainly not every week, because you don't want to devalue those titles or overexpose Stephanie. Not that she's not super gifted. As we go to commercial here, and Ricky Saints in picture-in-picture is recovering on the outside from being suplexed out there. Rickardy says, I like wrestling. Cena is not a wrestler. That is one of the most 2006 comments I have read in quite a while. I'm not saying you're totally wrong there, Rickardy. I definitely went through a Cena is not a wrestler phase right around the same time Triple H did, around WrestleMania 22. But I'll tell you what, when Cena beat Rusev for the United States title and started the United States title open challenge and started wrestling the likes of Cesaro, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, and others, I really started to believe in him more as a wrestler. I don't think I'd ever put him at the sort of Mount Olympus levels of wrestling that I hold for other wrestlers. Your Bret Harts, your Kurt Angles, your Eddie Guerreros, your Mr. Perfects, your Ricky Steamboats. I'm just looking over at my figures over here. But he does have my respect, and my hustle and my loyalty. He doesn't have those, but he does have my respect. Justin wants to see R-Truth again soon. Yeah, I before this whole Cena story is done, I would like to see R-Truth on camera have a reaction to what happens here, because that will definitely that can add a lot more to Cena's heel character and how R-Truth's perception of the situation is involved. So I hope even if it's a backstage segment, that we get something from there. George, you imagine Fatal Influence get involved on behalf of Fallon Henley? Yeah, I mean, we talked about it before. That it's that numbers game, man. And Stephanie wasn't always successful taking on Fallon the first time due to that numbers game and stuff. So we'll see. But yeah, and we haven't seen Chemical X in a while either. So Fatal Influence has definitely got a reckoning to deal with them sometime soon. So we'll see what happens there. Justin Allengrain with a modification, a variation of his Wrestling is Life quote that he brings us every single time we watch along together. Cena suck and Cena don't suck, but also Cena suck. Cena is a paragon of a different generation of wrestling that I was already here and entrenched in. He is their guy, just like we've all had our guy. and I can make peace with that. He's never been my guy, but I understand that some people just absolutely ride for him, and a lot of those people are adults now. So it's interesting to see the Cena crowd grow up and be adults. Give it another 10 years, those are going to be Cody and Roman people too. It's interesting. I was going to say funny. I mean, it's not humorous, but it's interesting to look back now and see like people treat Jeff Hardy like that in retrospect, as like Jeff Hardy was a GOAT. And I'm like, I mean, we all loved Jeff Hardy, but huh? What are you talking about? Jeff Hardy was a GOAT. But wrestling is cyclical. It's generational. Everybody finds those guys that they latch onto when they were younger, and I don't want to say deify them when they're older, but they remember them very entrenched and very fondly. And Cena is one of those guys, which is why that heel promo worked so well. Cena was not afraid to address that head on, to sell out. I mean, just kind of sell. I don't want to say sell out like sell his soul, but he was willing to mortgage all that goodwill to be booed in this chase of Cody. So respect for that. I got to say, this match isn't bad. However, it feels like ever since the Hank and Tank match happened, we've lost a little bit of steam tonight. Unless the women have been out, unless the women's division, they've kept up the fire, they've kept up the passion and the intensity. Wow, Ridge Holland had almost looked like a spinning big ending, and I almost got really chippy about that. Ridge Holland, I don't want to see you performing anything remotely close to a big ending in that ring. Not even for heel heat. I don't care if Big E's okay with it. I don't want to see that. Jeff Hardy was just nuts, Rickardy. Absolutely. And George, you're absolutely right. I think Trick Williams and Eddy Thorpe, I think that NXT Underground match is going to raise the heat back in the room for sure if the finish of this match doesn't. And again, I want to reiterate, this is not a bad match. This is a decent match. It's almost kind of old school and working it in a sense. It reminds me a little of the Roxanne Perez Jordan Grace match from Roadblock, in that it's not just all high octane big spot stuff. Like they are working the crowd, bringing them down, pulling them back up. Ridge Holland is getting a lot of heat on Ricky Saints right now, and so it's there is something that's almost nostalgic about this kind of match. But today's modern wrestling fan can't always appreciate it. But Ricky is fighting like an underdog here, and he's selling for him. Big back body drop out of the corner for Ricky Saints. And they have not lost the crowd. They're just not losing their minds. And I think we got to work into that. Whoa. Quite I would call it a Pele kick, a standing enziguri by Ricky Saints. And that was a hard thing. Hey, don't worry, Rickardy. We're all reteaching ourselves to call him Ricky Saints. I think I mess it up at least once per show. George, you're right. Trick Williams needs momentum. And I'm getting more respect for Eddy Thorpe as a performer, but I think Trick definitely, oh man, loud chop. He is chopping Ridge hard outside here. Ricky's got that black, gold, and white color scheme on his gear too. Very New Orleans Saints as well. I'm sure that's on purpose. But yeah, Trick's edge to his character definitely seems to suggest that he's trying to re-enter the NXT title scene with a different level of motivation. So I'm hoping that that's what we get from him coming soon. But Ridge has got Ricky seated on the turnbuckle, punching away. But now Ricky's punching back. Slips out from underneath. And Ridge eats a face full of turnbuckle. Oh, and catches him with a European uppercut. Ridge charging the corner and misses. Ricky with a kick. Oh, man, about kicked him in the throat almost. Saints got him. Tornado DDT. Nails him. Now Ricky's firing up, still selling his back, though. Will he be able to get him up for his finish? Ridge is a big dude. He hoists him up. Oh! Drops him with that Dominator move, too. And that's 3. Ricky wins. He did not get Ridge all the way up. It almost looked scary there for a second. The first time he did that move, it was much like a Dominator, like the old Bobby Lashley finish before he went to the Hurt Lock, where he'd pull him all the way up on his shoulder and then slam him down. But Ricky pulled him up almost to the level of like a Styles Clash and slammed him down, which was kind of scary there. He rotated him around to protect him on the way down. So smart veteran type instinct by Ricky on that. Because if he had dropped him straight back down, it could have been a nasty, unfortunate case of karma for Ridge Holland. Could have been dropped on his head. But Ricky was smart enough to rotate when I don't know if he was doing that on purpose or just realized in mid-move he's not coming all the way up. But, yeah, he got that rotation down. Made for a good look, better-looking finish than I thought. So Ricky Saints victorious in his first singles match against Ridge Holland. So we've only got one more match tonight, and that is NXT Underground. I imagine will be, they'll need to set up the ring for that, taking the ropes down and stuff as they're advertising their autograph session for WrestleMania weekend. But Trick Williams versus Eddy Thorpe is our main event of the evening. So let me know in the comments in this NXT Underground, who do you have for Trick Williams versus Eddy Thorpe in our main event of NXT this evening? Again, NXT Underground rules. Let's see what you got. Okay, it's time for the main event. Georgia's got Trick Williams. I suppose it could go either way, but it's all Trick for me. I think Trick's got this one, and I think Trick moves back into the title scene after this. I don't know. Unless, he really took a step too far with Javon earlier tonight. He did kind of, his aggression might have gotten the best of him in getting in Javon Evans' face tonight. We'll see what happens. But, yeah. So Rickardy has got Eddy. George has got Trick. I'm going to lean towards Trick. But I already forgot about this this interaction with Javon Evans earlier tonight. And these Retribution guys, they seem to be attacking everybody every week. We don't really know yet. Justin makes a good point here. Says Eddy Thorpe with Shield 2.0's help. And I think there is something there. That's the thing, is that they've been on their own. We haven't seen them align with an actual rostered performer yet in NXT. So, could they? We haven't seen them intervene on someone's behalf. We've just only seen them create chaos. So, will they create chaos after this match? Because Trick, he didn't say anything about them when he was talking to Javon. He did kind of seem like that group was below his problems, so to speak. So I don't know. Were they paying attention to that? Will they take well to that? Who knows? We'll see what happens. George also bringing up Lola Vice. Yes, I haven't mentioned her at all tonight, but I love Lola Vice too. I love her in-ring work. She's got great presentation. She could absolutely be in the mix for the North American title as well. She could be a suitable contender if what's her name? If Fallon Henley manages to beat Stephanie Vaquer. So, I'm very excited about, man, you know what? Women's wrestling has just really been a great thing, especially Raw and NXT. SmackDown, I think SmackDown has got the tag division right now. And if you were to rank, if we're going to go through all the divisions, right? Which roster has the best version of the cards right now? I would give the women. I would give the women of NXT the edge, although every women's division is really good. But NXT and Raw specifically, SmackDown still needs a little bit of work. I am not as sold on Tiffany and Charlotte as everyone else. It's still going to be great. It's like saying, what's the worst Pixar movie? They're all good, but somebody has to be ranked at the bottom. And for my fandom, Tiffany and Charlotte, I'm not as interested in it. And their brawl on Friday did not do it for me either, especially after we had just seen CM Punk and Seth Rollins do it the week before, and it just was not the same. But I would give the women's division to NXT. I would give the all around. I would give the men's mid card division. Actually, you know what? I would go Raw or SmackDown in that, but probably Raw with Braun Breaker, Penta, even Ludwig, and so they're building something special over there coming up to WrestleMania. And then, the main event scene, technically, because that's where Cody is. Although, everybody's got some talent. And it's kind of bleeding over both shows going into WrestleMania season right now. So I think, Justin, Raw's main event women's scene maybe just barely clears NXT. But in totality, Raw's mid-card women's division isn't quite there right now. It's just so small. And not the women are small. I mean, although a little bit they are. That's not what I meant. It's not as thorough a roster. And I think NXT has a deeper women's roster from top to bottom. But yeah, the main event scene though, Rhea, Io. I keep saying Rio because Rhea, Io, Bianca, all that stuff is just must-see TV for me. But women's wrestling in general has been fantastic. Okay, this group is now outside.
You see here, 4 game changers, 4 difference makers. We saw the landscape of NXT, and that don't work for us. We're restructuring, remodeling, reshaping it the way that we want. Hey, big, I'll make it real simple for y'all, G. When Doc stage strike, ain't nobody safe, and the chaos is finna continue. We made our statement that. I feel like they don't get it yet.
Oh, they were leaving the building and now they're going back in saying they haven't made enough of a statement yet. Did they give themselves a name? I didn't. Well, now I wonder if they're going to come attack Trick and Eddy. It sounded like they said Dog's Day or something. I was trying to connect and see if they had named themselves, basically saying they want to reshape NXT in their own image, which is a very Death Riders thing to say. Don't love that, but yeah. But we got Stephanie Vaquer next week pulling double duty. The double champ is pulling double duty. Each belt will be defended. The NXT World Title against Jada Parker, the North American Championship against Fallon Henley. So 2 title matches, 2 different matches next week. So we'll see if Stephanie can survive both title matches next week. And someone said it earlier, Javon Evans and Lexis King is going to be a Heritage Cup match. So we've got 3 title matches next week. That's wild. Sounded like Christopher Walken there for a second. That was wild. 3 title matches. NXT. Interview with Ricky Saints backstage.
So every win counts, every moment matters. And I'm going to when I first got here. And that also begins with me bringing an entirely new revolution to tricks.
Billy, Nathan.
Ricky Saints has been interrupted by the culling. We going straight to Spears?
Let me guess. Y'all don't care for outsiders either, huh? Since this revolution that you talk about is happening right before your eyes. What we did to the D'Angelo to poor guys to put out time.
Since you have the confidence of a much, much larger man, I'll give it to you. Your charisma and star power are some of the best in the world. But it just doesn't seem you measure up.
You shouldn't be laughing, and you need to get your eyes checked, sweetheart. One thing about Ricky Saints is that I always measure up in the right places.
Oh, Ricky, okay. Dang, Ricky. Listen, something I have observed tonight about NXT promos. These guys don't bury each other. And that's such a refreshing thing to see. Even Izzy Dame, while cutting a promo on Ricky Saints, still acknowledged his passion, his entertainment, his charisma, while saying you have the confidence of a much larger man, which I absolutely love digs like that. But she straight up acknowledged that he was a gifted performer, though, in that way. And that's all you need to do in wrestling is make the other person. I disagree, George. I thought that promo was excellent. Obviously, I'm not talking about like Cena level stuff, but she did the job in getting that match over. She showed respect to Ricky without sounding, she didn't make him look weak. She validated who he was while still saying he wasn't good enough. And that's how you make matches matter, is that people actually view each other as threats. And the only time, I believe, the only time dismissing people as threats in matches should be like a Scott Hall / Razor Ramon dismissing the 1-2-3 kid in 1993. And it's this so obvious David and Goliath thing that's setting you up for a massive upset. I think those are the only times that should really take place. We talked about earlier when we were talking about Cena's wrestling ability in 2006 and WrestleMania 22. I actually, while I wasn't a Cena fan back then, even in retrospect, I didn't love Triple H's approach to being a main eventer back then. He just straight up called John Cena a bad wrestler. And like doing that when Cena had limitations in the ring, who's still growing and stuff. Like if you say the person you're in the ring with isn't a good wrestler and then you lose to them, it makes you look stupid. And so like, but if you tell the crowd that they're worth something, that they're decent in the ring, then you've validated someone in losing to them. You know what I mean? So anyway, I'm not telling anybody they shouldn't. I'm not telling you were wrong for not enjoying Izzy Dame's promo, but I do think there were good things in there as well. And obviously we're getting a tease there already for Ricky Saints and Shawn Spears for the North American title. Totally here for that. Absolutely. So I'm glad they didn't already go ahead and book that, because 4 title fights on a regular old episode of NXT next week would be wild stuff, guys. So, yeah, I mean, we're going to have a lot of fun stuff here. Want to highlight A&B Combos Wrestling Edition, and thank you guys for supporting the channel. Just got your notification in there, and it'll be before you know it. We'll be able to put all that stuff on screen for everybody. But to give voice to A&B Combos Wrestling Edition, my favorite brother and sister on YouTube, my brother and sister, you know what I mean, guys. Coalition stand forever for life. All right. The women's division is showcased more on NXT than Raw, generally speaking. So we see a lot more of the female roster cook on NXT. 100% agreed. I don't even know why I'm taking that off yet. We're going to keep that up there for a second. That's a beautiful thing about NXT too. NXT is a 2-hour show. Raw is 2 hours and change. SmackDown is 3 hours. And look how much time, investment, and effort are given to the women on NXT on the shortest program. on the shortest program that's on TV. The women get more shine. So if you give these women more time to work, they might make your show that much more watchable. We're already seeing that to a degree on Raw because, listen, for the actual core of Raw's actual rostered talent, Rhea, Io, and Bianca are some of the best things on Raw right now. Some of the best things in the company, period. I know this is probably not going to be agreed upon by everybody, and that's okay. I am not I'm not trying to fight nobody on this. But there is enough evidence and enough earned potential for that ladies triple threat match to be main event of night one. And I will not fold on that. They absolutely have earned consideration for that. Now, it's not Friday yet, so we don't know what Punk, Rollins, and Reigns are going to do. And I'm pretty confident that will probably be what does happen, end up main eventing night one. But you will never be able to convince me that Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, and Bianca Belair are not laying that stuff in so much. I believe in their fight more than I believe in anyone else's right now. And if we were really just being judicious and equitable and giving credence to who is putting in the most work and getting the most out of the crowd in their return on investment for their effort, they would main event night two. But nobody's ready for that conversation. All right, we're back. Thank you for letting me rant, guys. It's not like you guys could have stopped me, but you're all still here, so I appreciate it. Rickardy says, thoughts of Lyra challenging Bayley. Listen, they're making the announcements for NXT Underground right now. Please leave your predictions in the comments as we have our main event, and they're announcing it right now. If you've got Trick or you've got Eddy Thorpe, as I get back to your comment, Rickardy, I think that'll be a great match. They're both highly capable in the ring. They're both great performers. And I keep forgetting Trick is from Columbia. He's a South Carolina dude. He's a Gamecock. Anyway, Lyra is starting to grow on the crowd, and I'm happy to see that. I'm glad actually they haven't given up on her. But I just wish the crowd would get there faster. They're starting to chant with her. They're starting to cheer for her, but we're not there all the way yet. So I hope that they get there before they square off in the ring, because that could actually be a really, really solid match. Okay, here we go. It's time for the Underground. Eddy or Trick? I want to see Trick take this. Eddy Thorpe has earned my respect as a fan, but I don't really want to see him move up the card right now. They have rolled each other out onto the floor off the mat. It's interesting watching a NXT Underground match now that 2K25 has come out. So now I'm looking at it through those eyes. Yeah, George, Lyra has grown on me as well. She's been growing on you since NXT. That's good. And Bayley's a veteran at this point. You can bring her up for anything, and she'll make a solid match out of it. So I would love to see. I'd love to see a program with Bayley. Oh my goodness, between Bayley and Lyra. Trick just smacked Eddy so hard he went flying off the mat down to the floor and collapsed into the crowd of lumberjacks. I don't know what else to call them. This is basically NXT Underground is basically a lumberjack match with no ropes. Ambia Combos, we have no issues with Lyra. We just wish she was a little spicier. Now, you're going to run into that with Irish food. There's a lot of boiled stuff, you know. It's good. It's hearty. It leaves you filled and satisfied. But there's not always a lot of enjoyment and flavor on the way down. You know what I mean? You've always said a little tapatio. You know what? Even a little butter, a little salt and pepper wouldn't be that, you know. Little push it. Little shoot. Little what a man. Little salt and pepper. Any of those things. Oh, my goodness. Eddy just sent Trick right through the announce table, and he didn't pull the top off or nothing. He just landed on monitors and Mountain Dew bottles and all kinds of whatnot. Oh, my goodness gracious. Rickardy with the truth. Haggis ain't very spicy. Yeah, that's true. 100%. Yes. A&B Combo is also mentioning, much like Roxanne Perez turning up the heat once she turned heel. Absolutely. And I think Lyra's got it in her. I think there's something there. I just hope, one, that she finds it fast, and two, that the company, they seem to have been patient enough. They clearly see whatever they think is there. So I just hope the rest of us get to see it soon, because I want to like her. I want to like her more, but it's just not all there yet. Not everything's clicking yet. Okay. Eddy Thorpe got a submission locked in. Little triangle, little bit of Hell's Gate action, trying to get Trick, but can Trick reverse? He's trying to lift up, powerbomb style, drops him down. Oh, but Eddy locks it back in. Didn't get enough of that powerbomb. Some sort of spice, something to sop it up with the biscuit. Even a little sausage gravy will give you a little flavor. You know what I mean? Oh my goodness! Trick reversed the triangle choke again by picking up, and instead of powerbomb, just yeets him right into the ringside area, taking down 5 or 6 lumberjacks. Man, I hope these guys are getting hazard pay tonight because they're taking bumps. Oh my goodness. Just catches him with the knee, and now he's hammer fisting him. The ref's going to interfere. That's it. Ref has called it, UFC style. Trick wins by KO. They are really going for this KO knee strike with Trick Williams. Match is done. We are over. We got a winner. Trick Williams has emerged victorious in NXT Underground. He's grabbing the mic. Y'all, this Retribution group has not shown up yet either. Ha ha! Trick said you better learn how to squabble. Oh, Trick said, Oba, bring your punk ass out here. Well, here comes the ruler. Well, here comes the champ. He says, say my name and I'll appear. Shoot. Oh, Oba's already got the shirt off. Booker is excited. These two looking like T'Challa and Killmonger, man. Uh-oh, lights out. Oh, boy. Are Trick and Oba ready for this? Here they come from different corners of the arena. This group again. Oh, Javon. Javon Williams is here trying to keep the peace. Trick, come on, dude. Trick just shoved down Oba like he was Io Sky. Now all 3 of them are fighting. Guys, what are y'all doing? This is Bianca, Rhea, and Io, and Javon Evans is playing the role of Io Sky. Man. Now all the lumberjacks are trying to hold these 3 guys apart, but those 4 dudes are standing there just watching. Y'all excuse my channel mascot. He's a little hyped for this as well. Oh, Javon just laid out Obafemi. And he's standing up to Trick Williams. And these 4 guys are doing nothing. They're just watching from the crowd. They said they wanted to create chaos, and they're fostering it. They're fostering it here with the crowd. And Javon, yeah, Vic Joseph said it best. No one's listening to Javon Evans. He's the one trying to get everybody's attention about this interference, and nobody's trying to hear it. Man, oh man. This is a hot ending to the show. And next week, y'all pray for Booker T because he gets to see Stephanie twice. 2 title defenses, world title defense against Miss Jada Parker, and North American title defense against Fallon Henley. A lot going on here. And we get a Heritage Cup match as well. Trick and Javon just staring holes in each other right now. Obafemi still out on the ground. Could Javon be the leader of the 4 guys? That wouldn't make sense to me just because of the sheer number of power bombs he's taken. But I am curious if anybody actively on the roster is a sleeper agent for this group. I am curious about that. I don't know. But, man, what a show for NXT. Drop your ratings. Drop your ratings in the chat. George Lewis gives us, I'm giving NXT a solid 8.5. I think 8.5 is a good place to be because, the show started off hot. One thing NXT is doing great these days that I think Raw is doing well as well is building to the next week as well. We've already got a fire card to look forward to next week. And just some really good stuff. That main event angle really, there was a bit of a roller coaster feel. Justin Hallencrane says, I'm giving it a 10 out of 10, and that is just too yeet. And here we go. A&B Confidence says, and this is why we're so high on NXT. No bread, no water, just meat. It's a great show, and it has not been missing at all. Middle of the show, like I said, I made that allegory, that metaphor, that analogy to Pixar films. Even the weakest stuff is still strong. The middle of the card tonight was fine, but it also calmed us down a little bit to regather our energy, and that main event ended hot. That nasty knee strike, knocking out Eddy Thorpe, and then we get this Javon Evans, Trick Williams, Obafemi squabbling up with each other, and that this group, this still unnamed group, I don't think they dropped a name in that promo. I was listening really hard, but I couldn't make out a name for that. Great stuff. So yeah, I think a good 8.5 out of 10 as well, which is a still high praise from me. Riggerty says slam of the night, man. That is a good question. Cause I'm sitting here thinking you've got Eddy Thorpe throwing Trick through the table. You've got Trick's knee strike against Eddy to end the match was nasty. Then you've also got that cutter from Javon onto Obafemi, dropping him like a sack of potatoes. So, yeah, I mean, it's tough between any of those 3. I'm going to go with the table spot just for fun. And that was excellent there. Great show, though, tonight for sure. Love you guys being here. Appreciate the love. Appreciate the community and stuff. Give me just a second. Sorry, y'all. Anyway, so yeah, great show tonight. Great table spot. I'm so glad you guys are here as well. Again, if you want to support the channel, you can do so down here as we are working our way towards super chatting. We are on the road to Stand and Deliver WrestleMania weekend. It's going to be a little bit of an NXT brunch, if you will, for us on the West Coast, and a nice lunch appetizer for you guys, tailgating for Mania, so to speak. So we're going to have a lot of fun then. But before we get there, we got next week with 3 different title matches, 2 different contenders for the women's titles, and a whole lot of fun. And Booker T probably going to be out of breath by the time the night's over. You know what I'm saying. If you know, you know. And I'm sure you know if you watch NXT. All right, guys. I appreciate you guys so much for being a part of this community, for welcoming me into it, for having fun there. And just to let you guys remember, don't let any haters in the internet wrestling community or anywhere else steal your joy for wrestling, because This is just a place for marks, and like it says on the tagline, being a mark just means you believe. And we had a good time tonight, man. Believing makes wrestling better. So thank you guys again for that. Appreciate you guys so much. And I will see y'all in the chat in the week to come, and see y'all right back here for next week's NXT. Holler at you guys later. Have a great night.